Imagine for a moment your pits smelling like nothing. You don't stink after you work out. Your teenager's foot odor doesn't exist. How is this possible? It's Lumi. Challenge Lumi to keep you funk-free for 72 hours. Go to uglytruth.com/Lumi. You can pick your favorite smell, the favorite type of applicator or stick or tube or wipe, and you will be amazed by your non-smelly body. uglytruth.com/Lumi. Welcome to The Ugly Truth. This is episode 531. Ugh.
God, my Ugg is really high today.
Happy 4th of July. This is dropping on the July 4th. Are you doing anything?
God. Well, we were trying to because it's so freaking hot.
Were you guys going to go to the city?
Well, yeah, we were going to go somewhere on the coast where it's cooler.
Yes,
but
yes.
Jesus, so is half the nation.
Yeah, I know that you're really good about going to San Francisco for the big holidays because it's nice and cool.
It's
and
so
then
cool.
If you can get, and you tend to be able to locate a hotel.
Well, you can actually stay in the city right now. It's the surrounding coastal places that you can't. Like, we were going to go to Santa Cruz.
Oh, right.
Fucking booked. The shittiest hotel is like $700 a night.
Forget it.
I was like, I am not staying in a dump for $700 a night.
No.
No.
That's insane.
But you can't stay in the city because I think most people are leaving the city
Now,
for the weekend.
But are they doing a fireworks show like they do?
Probably not.
Because I did hear, actually, I think they are, I don't know about San Francisco specifically, but I mean, really, especially in California, they're trying to encourage people to just go to the shows instead of doing their own shows.
Right.
Because of fire season.
Right.
And
it is a big deal, though.
It is a huge deal.
It's totally.
And we're in a drought, man.
So it's just all bad things for fire.
Honestly, I do not go out on 4th of July.
We have a tradition at my house.
What is it?
Well, Jeff first of all, I don't know why. I have two holidays that are my absolute favorite.
Tell me.
Thanksgiving is my first.
Oh, yeah, me too.
And 4th of July is my second.
Really?
I don't know why. There's just
That's
something
awesome.
about it. And I think for 4th of July, there's so much less pressure about what you have to do.
There's no tradition. You can do whatever you want.
No, you can like barbecue and like hang out in the backyard in your bathing
No one
suit.
and everybody thinks it's fine.
And it's fine. Yeah, it doesn't have to be formal. You don't have to buy gifts and all that shit.
You don't have to go to a party.
Right.
If you want to, you can.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
I mean, I like going to these parties where there's 4th of July presents.
Well, I mean, I'm specifically talking about Christmas. When you have kids,
Yes.
Christmas kind of loses its nostalgia in a way because it's a lot of pressure to buy the next best thing for your kids,
It's true.
But anyway, so Jeff and I generally, as the years have progressed, we spend exorbitant amounts of money to get
fireworks?
Yes.
That's awesome.
And it's mine and Jeff's little thing. We go to the local, there's one that I always go to because it supports one of the high schools in my area. And we buy as much as I can afford.
That's awesome.
So anyway, we will go, and then we'll kind of go to a couple. And get
because they have different brands.
Yeah, well, they do, and they're all the same because California is so strict about what you can, rightfully so, right? But they're basically all the same, but they do look a little different, or they have different colors or whatever. So we do that, and then on 4th of July, we do we do them all.
That's
Jeff
awesome.
and I will stay outside and do them
hours.
all. Yeah.
Last year.
And what's funny is Jerry hates it.
Why?
I don't know.
Does he have PTSD?
Every 4th of July, it's like, for some reason in his mind, it's a waste of money.
Oh, well, I don't think it is.
And the thing is, he's not cheap. Like, he'll spend money on other things that is obnoxious and ridiculous.
It's worth it.
But in his brain, for some reason, 4th of July, it's like, oh, God, really?
You know what?
We're going to spend $500 on that? I'm like, yes, we are. Again.
Here's what's weird.
For the 24th year, we are going to do it.
Here's what's weird. Every year, Daryl and I always get a sour face. I'm like, oh, God, what are we going to do? I don't want to do anything. And then, literally the day before the day of, I'm like, let's go get some fireworks. He's like, really, JB? Really? I'm like, yeah, let's go. I want to do it. The kids are.
But that's the wonderful thing about 4th of July is you can.
So we went and we spent $100 last year.
Yeah,
and we
that's
bought.
nothing, yeah.
It's not that much. And we bought a few. We bought a handful of everything. We bought 2 showstoppers.
Yeah.
So we went out.
Those are our favorite.
To the thing, and finally,
and they're like $50.
They're expensive.
You can get a buy one get one free, which is what I usually do.
We did that. Yes,
Yeah.
we did a lot of buy one get one frees. But we went out to set up our little area. We have our little bucket. We have everything.
The hose.
Everybody, there's a smattering because our neighborhood's finally getting young again. So we have quite a few young families.
Oh, good.
So they're setting up fireworks shows for all their families.
Right.
So there's like 3 or 4 going on. So we come out and set up ours. So everybody, without even trying, because it's all the dads doing it.
Right.
Everybody's giving them their chance. So they did it.
and then they would pause, and they would let us do ours.
That's how we do too.
So we did that, and then we all knew we were clearly getting to the showstoppers. So we did ours first because we didn't have that many. So we did ours. Everybody's like, yay!
Yeah.
And then they went full bore, and
Maybe
it was
that's
like
why I love it so bad.
a 10-minute thing, and
It's
all
very
the kids.
inclusive.
It is, and all the kids with their little gross popsicle mouths.
I know, right?
Holding their little sparklers.
And they get to stay up late because in California it doesn't get dark till well after 9.
It's like 9 o'clock,
At
right?
least.
Exactly. So, and I'm like, and then I'm like, that was really fun. I'm so glad we did that.
I know, right?
And then the kids, they're just like, what did you guys, because they always go out. And I'm like, well, what'd you guys do? Did you guys, we're like,
you tell
actually,
them,
no.
and they're like,
They're like, actually, no, we bought a bunch of fireworks and we did. They're like, what?
Why didn't you tell us?
What? We would have come over. And I'm like, whatever, you drunks. You went out and partied. We partied at our house. We have better alcohol.
That's the fun thing about being grown-ass women or men, whatever. Being
Grown-ups.
grown, yeah. He's like, that is
all
the best.
That's the best part of being an adult, for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's why I love 4th of July, though, is because we do that. We literally do that exact same thing.
It's fun. It's
We
so
have
fun.
one neighbor.
And Daryl always barbecues.
And we do too.
Yeah.
We have one neighbor who is like probably 3 or 4 houses away, and they always trump. I shouldn't use that word. They always have more.
They one up you.
Yeah, but we don't really mind because they're close enough that we like them too.
You can enjoy everything.
Yeah. So last year I think was our biggest. We had our biggest loot. Like we really went crazy. I spent well over $500. Yeah.
Stephanie Denise!
I didn't do it all at once.
What?
It was like I went one day and I spent like $200, and then I went like the day before 4th of July and I spent like another $350 or $300.
My mouth is agape.
That's why Jerry, I think, gets so upset.
Well, that's a lot of money. I have never...
And that's why he won't go. He's like, I'm not going.
I said 100. I go, that's nothing. Oh my God. I get it.
But and like the sad thing is, for $500, like the neighbors still had more. I'm like, God, and I'm like, how much did you guys freaking spend? I'm like, they must have spent $1,000 because
That's insane.
they had a lot. Yeah, they had like a full-on table set up for theirs.
Wow.
Yeah,
Just come to your house. Jesus
I know,
Christ.
right? Yeah. All the neighbors love us because we have the best fireworks.
Okay, so a couple things before we talk about our assignments that we gave each other.
Our homework.
Yeah, our homework, which they kind of don't know about, but we'll talk about it.
I was like, did we not talk about it on
Not
the show?
really.
Okay.
Not well, but we'll talk about it.
Okay.
Anyways, I watch TikTok, and so there is stripper talk. And basically, it's strippers who basically show you what a day in the life is like.
I've seen some of those.
Okay,
Yeah.
I find them fascinating.
They are.
To me, they're fascinating.
Well, it takes all the romance out of it.
It does, but it's also a job, and they make
That's
bank.
what I mean.
They make bank.
Well, here's the thing. I think for women, we all knew, this is no letting the cat out of the bag.
Yeah.
We all knew that this was a job.
Oh, yeah.
If you're a woman, I'm sorry, no woman is going to go up on a stripper pole naked in front of a bunch of men and think it's sexy. Like,
It's not sexy.
I feel
Yeah.
really sexy doing this.
No.
No.
They are acting.
Absolutely.
They are.
And the good ones are the really good
It's
actors.
the ultimate faking it.
Totally.
Yes.
So we all knew that. So to see it,
Behind the scenes, how they get ready, what they pack when they go,
Yeah,
how
yeah.
they go from average girl to gorgeous.
same thing with the escorts. Like, I don't know if you've ever watched escort
I have only
documentaries.
No.
It's very similar.
I don't think I have. But anyway, this one stripper talk, she's fucking hot. And I think she's in Atlanta. And she's gorgeous. And so she showed this. She was in her apartment. And they're all in apartments, which is so funny. And they make a lot of money. So
Yes, they do.
I don't know why they're in apartment unless they're just saving everything.
Probably.
But anyway, so she ended up, after a weekend of work, she made $30,000.
Wow.
$30,000.
Yeah, she's clearly in a major city.
Yes. Not Vegas, though. She was not in Vegas.
No, but at
I don't know.
a huge gentleman's club where they have rich people.
Yes. And so she made $30,000. And so, but she's like, I started going through her talk, and I was just looking at her, at what she does and how she's practicing. She's trying to learn how to do nails, and because why not?
Yeah.
And so she's doing all this stuff. So she's like, I have to go to. She went to the shoe store where she goes to buy shoes for her job, right? And I have been to a stripper store in LA. Actually, it was in Hollywood. My friend took me
too.
because. We were going to do
It's fun.
a pole dancing class.
Oh, God.
And she's like, you need stripper shoes. I'm like, okay. So I bought these. I still have them.
Oh, wow.
Cellulite. They're very nice, but I almost killed myself. I wore them when you and I went to the Exotic Zone Ball. Remember I
they
twisted my
clear?
ankle? Yeah. They're,
Okay.
They're lucite. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not cellulite, lucite.
I knew what you meant.
I can't believe that. Cellulite. Yeah, my stomach was the shoe.
I wore these fat shoes.
Yeah. Anyway, so she went, and so I'm watching her, and I'm like, this is so interesting. And there was just like every shoe you could possibly imagine. And then she turned the corner, and then there's the boot section, right? And so I literally,
thigh highs.
I audibly said to myself as I'm watching this, going, if I was a stripper, I would absolutely have to wear the boots.
Yeah.
Because I would fall constantly if I didn't have the support all the way up to past my knee,
right,
supporting my legs, because I would be like wobbling around.
You wouldn't be, though. They get strong. Are you kidding me?
Those girls are badass. Now, I would never do it, but I admire those who do.
Yeah,
hardcore.
absolutely.
But I was like, I would definitely be the thigh-high stripper girl. I would not wear those other ones. I wouldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
No, I would wear them for multiple reasons, because I have fat thighs, and I mean, it's hard to say. If you the really good strippers, the dancers and the strippers that make $30,000 a weekend don't look like shit.
First of all, she's like, I weigh 178 pounds. It's all ass and thigh.
And
she's got a small waist, but
boobs.
She's not wafy.
Right.
I mean, she's a badass bitch.
I don't think any man wants to see a meth head looking girl strip.
Maybe
to a point,
like,
but
I mean, this was forever ago, but someone once told me, they're like, if you want to see women that look like they could be movie stars, go to Vegas.
Yeah.
If you want to see skanky whores, which some people do, go to Reno.
Ugh.
That's where they are. And I'm like, I don't know if that's true or not.
No surprise there.
I do not know if that's true. So if you
believe it.
Whatever.
They're probably for sale too.
There was a podcast about a club that was run. It was kind of a rundown one, and the city of Reno was trying to run them out because Amazon was coming and Tesla was coming, and they're like, we can't have these skanky people in our town anymore. And they're
I
like,
wonder if they killed that guy that owned that brothel.
Oh, I don't know.
The Bunny Ranch.
Thought about that.
It's so weird how he just dropped dead.
He had a heart attack, and he was really ill, wasn't he?
No, he wasn't. None of the above. I think he was a drug addict that nobody knew about.
He was disgusting.
He was disgusting. He was running for mayor or something like that, or senator or something.
Mayor.
And winning, by the way. And I just found it funny how he just dropped dead.
Those bunny ranches are still up and running, though.
Oh,
I'm just
are they?
curious. I hope a woman's running them now, though.
Well, a woman kind of was. Did you ever watch the show on HBO?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it was called Cat House.
Dennis Hoff.
Yeah, he was a pig. Anyway,
he was disgusting. Yes.
That's where Lamar Odom almost died.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, he had several. I think he had several brothels, right? Or was it just the one?
Well, that was his most famous.
The Moonlight Bunny Ranch was the one that everyone has heard of. If you look into it, that's the one everyone knows
it was
about.
the most. I think that was his most famous one. He had his hands in a lot of dirty pots.
I believe it. I believe it. Well, the thing
is, he was quite powerful because think of all the men that.
Actually, Reno is actually quite corrupt.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And so this one guy who's trying to get run out, they were just throwing everything. They were just trying to shut him down. Yeah, and the dancers were getting really pissed, and it was just a thing. But anyway. Interesting. So yeah, I would never do that job now, especially. But I mean, when you think about hypotheticals, I'm like, I would definitely wear the thigh high boots 100%. First of all, then men can't touch my body. Yeah, it'd be really hard to get past the platform boot, which would be nice.
Well, we've been talking about progressives and things that move forward, and I think one of the good things about social media is, and especially like TikTok,
I love TikTok,
is because it gives you a real live. It kind of deglamorizes what. Takes the mystery out of some of that stuff.
I love it.
I love it too.
Yeah.
Especially as a woman for things like this.
Me too.
Because I think it's ridiculous for people to believe that this is some kind of glamorous lifestyle.
Or that it's easy.
And that it's easy.
Or that they're sluts or whores.
All of that.
They're not.
And it's none of that. And
the serious women who do that for a living, they know their window is short.
Yep.
And they will make as much. They are ballers, man. They are working hard.
Sorry, have you seen Hustlers?
No, and I really want to.
You haven't seen Hustlers?
I know.
It's J-Lo.
I know.
Oh, you got to.
I know. I have to.
You got to, girl. Listen to me. Oh, my God.
She looks so fucking good in that.
Well, that's a true story. You'll love it.
I know it's a true story, and I cannot wait. Okay, so speaking of stories.
And they're strippers. Hello.
I know. So a couple of weeks ago, you and I decided that we were going to assign each other shows to watch.
By the way, Daryl, this is my contribution to the show since apparently I bring nothing.
Who said that?
Daryl.
Daryl said you brought nothing to the show?
In the pre-show banter when he covered for me a few weeks ago.
What?
You're like, well, I know you didn't bring anything for the show, so I overly prepared.
Oh.
And he's like, well, I bring more than either of your sisters do. And I'm like, I was so like, oh my God.
You know what? I must have blocked that out of my mind.
No, you said, well, my sisters and I have way better banter than you and I do.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's true. I'm like, but okay, I'm going to bring something to the
okay,
show.
First of all, no. And I remember defending you post-show when he and I talked.
Oh.
I'm like, first of all,
Well, that was aired, so everyone heard that.
I go, first of all, she's getting comfortable, okay? She will feel and know when it's time to say, hey,
I am not going to come in. I'm going to come in and be like, okay, this is what we're doing, Jamie. After 8 years of you doing the show by yourself, for however long it's been, I'm supposed to come in and suddenly be like, no, this is how it's going down.
I told him that.
No,
I said, look, I go, first of all,
mad respect.
Okay, first of all, I go, it will happen naturally, and then suddenly you'll be like, hey, remind me, I want to talk about this next week or whatever, and I'll be like, note it, and I'll just note it. That's how it'll go. I know it will. I'm not worried about it at all.
It would have been helpful if you guys could have told me this, and that way I would have known it was okay.
It's fine.
Like I wasn't breaking any boundaries by bringing ideas to the show.
Never.
That's my thought. It's not that I couldn't have.
I apologize.
I just didn't feel it was my right to do.
It is your right. You have
I'm
every
just
right.
saying.
Every right.
That is where my head was. It was not about being lazy and it not being important to me.
I don't think you're lazy.
It was just about me being like, hey, you know what? This is their deal.
No,
They've been doing it for a long time,
No,
and I respect
get it.
that. And I'm
I
not going to come in and start bullying everybody around.
Well, don't bully me, but
you know what I mean?
Please, yes, if you have thoughts, note them immediately and absolutely.
So this was my idea,
This
Daryl.
was your idea. You wanted,
and I have others.
you wanted to trade shows because you.
Well, I wanted to assign. Okay, so we both watch a lot of shows, streaming, whatever.
Yeah,
and
like everybody.
And some, very few of them are actually the same. There's a couple that we've seen.
Yes.
Mostly movies. But as far as like shows, things that we stream, things that we like, we don't really watch the exact same things.
We don't.
So I thought it would be interesting for me to pick something for you and you to pick something for me.
Yes.
That neither of us had seen.
Right.
And see the reaction. And if we were both like, I hated that so bad, don't ever make me watch that again.
Yeah.
Or what?
Well, the thing is cool is that when you and I were throwing ideas out there of what to watch. Everything you and I discussed, we all were like, I actually wanted to watch that anyway.
But we hadn't for whatever reason. Yeah.
And so
it was low on the priority list.
It was.
And everybody had been talking, the one you ended up assigning me, that had been being talked about. And
Forever.
It was almost like I was like, I'm not watching it because everybody's watching it and I probably won't like it.
Right. So you are very big on true crime, and so you assigned to me Dirty John Season 2, which is the Betty Broderick story.
On Netflix.
And then I assigned you what?
You assigned me Bridgerton.
Bridgerton on Netflix, Season 1.
Which is weird that we both assigned to Netflix.
Yeah, I know, because we have many streaming services.
Right. You do a lot of HBO and Max, too.
So, please, give me your thoughts on Bridgerton.
Okay, so I have to say that although I had heard the name...
Yeah.
I had no idea what it was about.
Okay.
None.
Oh,
I had no idea what it was about.
You didn't know it was a period piece?
Nope.
Okay.
Did not know any of that.
Okay.
So when, of course, within the first 30 seconds of the first episode, I'm like, okay, I know what it's about. I love The Crown, which we both love The Crown.
Yes.
And I was like, so the fact that it's in England and all of that, I'm good with, you know, all right? So, and now I know what I'm dealing with. But I really didn't know what I was dealing with.
No.
And it didn't take long before I figured it out. What I immediately loved about it was how interracial it was.
It was my favorite part.
And I didn't really know if that was going to be, like, if they were going to talk about that.
Yeah.
But they really don't.
They do a little.
They don't completely
It's
ignore.
almost like they address it just so you know, hey, we know.
This is on purpose, yes. But, so from that perspective, it was very refreshing because in my mind, I've always dreamed of a world like that where you don't look at someone's race or you don't think about it. It's just like everybody's just whatever.
It's who they are.
Right. So I was like, I'm loving this part of it. And of course, the actors are...
They're all beautiful.
Oh my God.
Everyone's beautiful.
And the Duke is so hot.
He's stunning.
And I get to see him naked so much.
Many times.
And I loved it. And then it was so contrast to that period of time where you're so prim and proper and you don't talk about, we all know that stuff happens, but you've never talked about it. Nope. And you can't even imagine what it would be like for like royalty to be having sex.
Right.
You know? So the fact that you get to see it and hear it and it was so naughty and so
very
intense.
Hot. Yes, very hot.
It was just like, holy shit. I watched it by myself. I binged it in 2 days. I watched it in my room because I didn't know it was like that. I mean, and I think the first time
You're
they
like,
kind of allude, and my son was home, and I was like, this is like soft porn. Like, I cannot be watching this in the living room.
There's definitely some parts.
At noon, yeah.
Yes.
So I ended up figuring that out, and I ended up watching it in my room. Sometimes I had to shut the door because it got very graphic.
It did.
And I loved every second of it. Absolutely
you
loved
did?
it. Loved it, loved it, loved it. It was getting sad towards the end.
Yes, it was
I
sad.
did know who whistled. What was his name?
Whistle down.
Whistle down, whatever. Whistle point.
I thought it was Whistle Pig, but I think it's Whistle Down.
It's whistle something.
Whistle Down.
Whistle stop? Yeah, no, that's another movie.
I figured it out fairly quickly.
I think I figured it out about 3 episodes before it ended. But I wasn't 100% sure.
Well, they kept kind of throwing you off track, but like, no. It has to be her because she's the only one that knew.
She's the only one that knew about the pregnant girl.
Yes.
So that's when I knew.
Yeah.
So I was really happy. I was afraid that they weren't going to reveal who it was because clearly they've set it up for another season.
Well, I don't know.
It looks like?
I did not know this, but these are based on books. It's
okay.
it's almost like the Little House on the Prairie
Gotcha.
set. So there's several, and
So it can keep going. Yeah.
every book focuses on a different sibling.
Right.
So this one was about the
Will be
first
the
the
next-
girl.
yeah.
And so the next one is the older brother who has having the affair with the actress.
Yes.
The next season's based on him. So the reason,
okay, great.
The reason I know this, and I thought that was really great too, and I was glad that she ended it with him, by the way.
Oh, absolutely.
Because she's like, you're never going to marry me.
He was dicking her around forever.
Well, she would have been side piece her whole life because he couldn't marry her.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
So, my show is an old story. Like, and I know, so we've all had opinions
And
about,
I know it very well.
It's so well known. It happened a long time ago.
But, yes.
And so, the reason why I chose that one for you is because when I watched it, I had seen everything ever written
about Betty
or produced
Broderick.
about Betty Broderick.
Yes.
And I thought there's nothing that I can possibly watch or see that's going to make anything more interesting or different than what we already know.
Other than the performances.
Right.
Yeah.
Even then, I wasn't sure because I didn't know who Amanda Peet was.
Really?
I had no idea who she was.
She's so good.
She's great. I knew who Christian Slater was,
Yeah,
obviously. But the rest of the cast is not necessarily A-listers.
They're character actors that have been on many things.
They have, yeah, but I mean,
Yes.
they're not like, they weren't like stars in their own right as far as like being the number one actress,
No,
leads in like big films.
The one that was probably considered like her best friend for a while is the only one that I really recognize.
I knew her too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but other than that, so that did kind of intrigue me or whatever. But when I did watch it, I was surprised at that I felt differently. At the end of the day, I still kind of have the same opinion, but I did feel differently.
Yeah.
And then of course I had to Google all about that to find out, and then I bought the book. That's so funny that
you
bought the book
did.
of Bridgerton. I subsequently ended up buying the book that series was
based on. Interesting.
And I had to pay $135 for it.
What, is it out of print?
It's out of print. The author's dead. But because of what I read about that book being how it was written, she became very close to Betty Broderick in real life.
Oh, okay.
Through jail, obviously.
Okay.
She's in prison.
Yeah.
But that and Betty Broderick was more revealing about the actual truth than she had ever been to anyone because she lied so much.
This is what this was based on then.
Yes.
Is her telling. So how do we know that what she said was real though?
Because this author didn't give two fucks if whether or not she wasn't trying to pine to Betty. It's like, I like you, I believe you, I want to be your friend.
She just wanted
which
to...
many authors have done, or they sided with the Cocaina
Linda and Dan
Broderick family,
right.
where they only interviewed those people, and so no one ever really wanted to get the straight skinny, like down the middle, like
what
because
happened?
it was either you believe that she murdered someone and it doesn't matter what the reason was,
or
it was
she was driven.
The exact opposite. It was all his fault. He deserves it. He should be dead.
Right.
And there was a happy medium. There was a middle.
Yes. So interestingly, you did assign me Dirty John season 2.
Did you watch it?
I watched the entire thing.
Okay.
I watched the first 6 episodes in one sitting.
Oh, okay.
I binged it, and then I had to go to the movies, and so I'm like, fine. So I watched it the next day. It stuck with me, I have to say.
Yeah.
Those types of shows really invade my brain. I really have to marinate and process them because although
I watched it twice.
I know the story very well because I was actually almost an adult when she was convicted.
It was in the 80s.
So I do remember it briefly, and I do remember our mom even having some opinions on it.
Definitely. I think that's why it maybe resonated with me as well.
I think so too.
Because Mom got divorced in 1981.
Yes.
And she got divorced in like 84.
85.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm like, all right, cool. Now, I love Amanda Peet. Now, just straight off the bat, regardless of what the story was about, I really struggled with Christian Slater as Dan Broderick, because Dan Broderick in real life was very handsome.
He was.
And Christian
Slater... And he was Irish.
Does not look at anything like him. Yeah. And I love Christian Slater.
I do too.
Very much. But I'm like, I don't understand the choice. Yeah. Now, I did listen to the podcast based on the show. They basically there was a lot of interviews and how they chose who they chose, and basically the book and the author was not interviewed, but the director based it off the book. Yeah. And so there was all this talking about it.
Since the 12th of Never.
And so when I started watching it, I really liked the flashback stuff. I liked how they really set the stage to show that Betty Broderick was groomed from the very beginning to be a docile, submissive wife.
Catholic.
Hardcore Catholic.
Yep. And he as well. He's Irish.
But what was interesting is that, and I always believe this, is that he never loved her. And
I believe that he is a narcissist.
He's
to
always,
the core.
Yes, he's a narcissist, which means he never loved her. He chose her specifically for what kind of person she was. He knew that she would be submissive, that she would do everything that a good Catholic girl does. Yep. And that he could go.
Well, she had the right image too.
She was attractive.
Well, I mean, just she came from a good family.
Everything.
Her family was not poor.
No.
Yeah.
And in fact, they did very well even after she went to prison.
Yes.
But so he picked her. He did not randomly fall in love with her. Absolutely. I don't think he ever truly well,
I think she fit the criteria that he needed in a wife.
Mind. Exactly.
At that time. Exactly. And for her it was the exact same.
Yes.
He was going to be a rich doctor. Yep. He ended up being a rich doctor, lawyer, whatever. He fit all of that criteria as well. Right. Her family was so happy that she was marrying this good old Irish Catholic who was going to go to Harvard, and then he ended up going to whatever medical school he went to first.
He started anyway. So but
that helped, right? Because honestly, you cannot dismiss that portion of your life.
No.
For what happens in the future.
Because any other way, she would have been like, this guy's an asshole.
Absolutely.
And I'm not going to be your slave.
The foundation of your youth and your young adult life is so important to the decisions that you make.
She was very...
As a woman.
She was very...
Not as a man, because you can change at any point in time that you want as a man and do whatever the fuck you want to do. But as a woman, in the 60s and 70s, you had very limited choices.
Very limited. Yeah. The fact that she even had any kind of education at all was...
She was brilliant.
It was only because she had money that she had, or her family.
She went to private school. I mean, she has a bachelor's degree. Yeah, she's very, no very dummy.
Anyway, so watching, I like the fact that they added the flashbacks. I did not know that she had so many miscarriages. Right. I did not know about that.
She had a stillbirth.
Interestingly,
actually, she didn't even have stillbirth. She had a child that died.
Yeah, he died 4 days later.
Right.
I found it fascinating that she actually wanted an abortion at one point.
She did.
Considering how she claims how staunchly Catholic she is and that she didn't believe in divorce.
She was overwhelmed.
She was absolutely beside herself. So with all of that being said, it was clear to me that this person struggled mentally.
She had mental health issues, 100%.
Very early in her life, and it never was addressed because women just were not allowed to.
She alludes to that a lot in the diary, where she talks about good Catholic girls don't do that. You slit your wrist over the kitchen sink so you don't make a mess. She clearly idolized or had feelings and thoughts about suicide and just wanting to escape, needing to escape the confines of her life.
Yes.
Which were all about him.
I did like that. I also liked that it's really interesting because the way divorces are now are not the way they were in the 70s and 80s. So back in he had been lining up to leave her for years. And so when he dumped her in that house that she wanted to renovate.
Oh my God, I was so angry.
He knew what he was doing.
Well, he tried, and he
tried to get her to buy a nicer house.
He did, because he knew, but she didn't know. And that's the part that made me so mad. It was because I'm like, you motherfucking manipulative asshole.
You
knew, and you let her buy this dump because you were too chicken shit or selfish with the money, because you knew at the end of the day that this was going to be her primary house.
The thing what's weird about this guy, Dan, what's weird about him is that at some point, I think he did have some kind of...
remorse?
It's not remorse, not for the house thing, but at some point, he thought that he really believed that all she cared about was money.
I know, and that wasn't true at all.
And so, clearly. But I think
that's all he cared about.
he cared about, well, they had, I wrote it down. It's like, it was a status, image, confidence. That was their motto.
That was their motto.
And so it's like, and that never changed for him.
No.
And it didn't for her either, except that her motives were, she was so I don't know if it was unwilling or what, to be abreast of her affairs financially or where she was. Like, she had absolutely no concept of anything.
Well, I wonder if she wasn't bipolar.
She could have been.
And maybe that was her stimulant, like that is what made her where she thought she was trying to find fulfillment.
Yes.
Because I think she knew, she was so intelligent, so intelligent, that I think she knew that he didn't really love her. I think she knew that the reason why their relationship was together was because they needed each other for different reasons.
There were goals.
Right? And so when he betrayed her and said...
She couldn't believe it.
I think she believed it, but I think she was just like, oh, hell no.
Yeah. Exactly.
You have no idea what I have sacrificed personally to stay in this contract, this marriage that we have. And that's been a farce.
Here's the thing, though. I think he absolutely did. He just did not care.
No, he didn't care.
He knew what she sacrificed. He doesn't give a shit.
And honestly, because we'll never know how his second relationship would have played out because they were only married for 7 months.
Same. I think it would have been the same.
I think he had...
it was an image
passion for Linda.
It was an image thing.
Right. Absolutely. She was 20, he was 40, whatever.
28.
When she died.
Yeah,
but he started screwing around with her when she was 22.
Yeah, it was really young. Yeah. It's true.
So, obviously she was beautiful and hot and all of those things. But I don't think it was mad love.
The only thing no, it wasn't. But it was the same thing. She fit a role.
She did.
And so ultimately he would have dumped her. I don't think that was.
She had way lower expectations than Betty did.
Oh,
she was like, I'm perfectly happy to marry you because you're handsome and rich.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'll spend what you tell me I can spend.
Yeah,
I feel lucky to be here.
Yeah, that's
Betty was like, oh, fuck no. Half this shit is mine, asshole.
Actually, she's not wrong.
She's not wrong.
She absolutely should
And he absolutely knew it. He's like, look, she's going to continue to spend and do what she wants, and she won't listen to me anymore because now we're wealthy.
Well, and the thing is that she was punishing him.
She was.
The only way I can get him is spending his money.
Right.
And so she
that gets his attention.
And that's how she did it. And she did it a lot.
She did.
I don't discount the bipolar thing. She definitely had
Maybe
depression.
she wasn't bipolar, but she certainly was. Yeah.
Bouts of depression. And then the other thing was, and I told Daryl this because it was like
she was kind of impulsive. That's the only reason why I said that.
She was impulsive.
But some of the shit she did, I would have fucking absolutely done. Like when she came to his office to do the.
Oh my god!
That's like the oldest story in the book with the Betty Broderick story. Yeah. We've all heard that story about how she showed up at the. But the way they portrayed it in this thing, the show, was so much different than what I had envisioned in the past.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I would have done the same thing. He called her crazy. Everybody said she was crazy. And I'm
That's
like,
oldest trick in the book.
I'm sorry. If you show up at your husband's office with champagne and stuff for his birthday, and he's with his mistress in Long Beach, I would have fucking done something equally as horrible. Yeah. I would have been furious.
Well, and the thing is that I do believe that she knew about it.
She did know.
I don't think it was like shocking to her.
She knew.
She knew, and she's like,
but
that's
she
fine.
wasn't going to choose to divorce him.
Nope.
Fuck no.
No, the only thing that I struggled with, honestly, was that the pleas from her children did not change her heart.
Jamie, I'm telling you.
And I'm like, how?
That's what put her in prison.
I'm like, how can you not go, you know what, my kids, my children, and that she did not care about her kids anymore.
She did care about them, but not enough.
Not enough. And then when I have read accounts of what her oldest daughter went through with her, I can't, man.
Well, see, and that's what I'm saying.
I can't with that shit. Like, she was just like so abusive, and I'm like,
yeah, she was.
And even if it was mental health, that is not an excuse.
No.
If you, it's just not an excuse. And those children, by the way, I did some deep diving and I found them all on Facebook.
Me too.
They're very, very happy people.
They are.
They're wonderful. All of them, but one lives in Idaho of all places.
Yeah, they don't live in California.
One does.
One of the daughters. Or is it the son?
One of the sons does.
Yeah.
And they're all split on where mom should go.
Yeah.
Most of them want her in prison.
Well, there's only one, I think, that says that, look, if you parole her, she can come live with me.
Yeah, it's the daughter. The one that was written out of the will by her father, her asshole dad, wrote her out of the will months before he died.
Those kids got a raw deal no matter what happened.
Stephanie, they are the victims.
Absolutely.
They are the victims. Now, of course.
And I think that's where we struggle as women to sympathize with her, to to the fullest. Like, you know, I mean, from a wife's standpoint, let's take the kids out of it. From a wife's standpoint, I absolutely know why she did what she did.
Yeah.
Me personally,
he mentally tortured her.
He tortured her.
Mentally tortured her, yes.
Me personally, I don't think I would ever, even though I talk about it a lot,
yeah.
I don't think I would ever have the actual balls to pull the trigger.
Me neither.
I just know that I wouldn't end up going there.
But as far as the show goes, I did like the pace of it. I only fast forwarded through like one little scene, and it had nothing to do with anything. It was just a little dry.
Yeah.
But it was at the very beginning. But after that, I watched every second of it. And then what I really liked about the show was the end, where it was what could have been.
Oh, and when they went through all the different decisions that she made, and had she made the different ones,
and his too, though, and it was like, if everybody had just done what everybody should do during a marriage. And what I liked is the very last scene was the young actress looking at the ring, where she had just said no because she knew what she was doing.
Right,
and she knew what she was doing, and I really appreciated that whole thing about how if they had both just done not so self-absorbed, narcissistic behavior, this is what it would have been. All of this would have been avoidable. And nothing ever would have happened, and everybody would be living their life, and it would be over. Yeah. And I'm like, how many times has anyone been looked back on their life and going, if I had only just said yes, or if I had only just said no, my path would have gone a different way, and I wouldn't be sitting here crazy in jail or whatever. Yeah. And I think...
And he wouldn't be dead.
That part of it, actually, was the most profound to me.
No, I agree. And you know what? I don't think I the first time I watched it, I kind of missed that.
Oh.
The second time I watched it, because I watched it again this week, I didn't watch it like Die Hard like I did the first time.
No, but you probably wanted to brush up on it.
I did. I wanted to make sure that I remembered, because it'd been almost a year since I'd watched it. Sure. And I saw that part, and I was like, oh my God. I was like, yes. And it was so sad.
It was very sad.
To me. It was like,
very sad.
I felt very, the first time I watched it. I
felt sorry for all of the people.
I did. The first time before I saw this, I'm like, you know what? Yes, he was a fucking asshole. Yes, times in the 80s getting divorced as a woman were horrible. But he did not deserve to die, and she did not deserve to die. I felt that way forever.
I still feel that way.
But when I watched the show, I sort of felt different. Like, I didn't feel like he deserved to die.
I still don't feel he deserved to die, but I do understand.
But I did understand why she did what she did.
I understand that level. But the thing that... The way they combated that, because there's a lot of people who still feel that way.
Absolutely.
I mean, and they're viciously passionate about it.
Oh, what, that they didn't deserve to die?
That they did deserve to die.
Oh, yeah.
Which I
agreed.
I struggle with that.
Jerry did. He was like, he deserved it. That's what he gets. And I was like, whoa.
I struggle with that, but...
I'm like, we're talking about double homicide of people who were sleeping.
Broken in their home and shot them in the head.
I mean, she didn't shoot him in the head.
Though Linda was.
She shot her in the neck.
Oh, sorry.
But it's okay.
Same.
Once in the chest, once in the neck. Linda died instantly.
Yeah,
Dan lived for 20 minutes after she shot him.
Jesus Christ.
He drowned in his own blood.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I hope she's proud of herself.
And was talking to her as he was dying.
Well, I know that there were words said, yes.
The only thing she's ever admitted were the words that she admitted in the book, which was that he said, okay, you shot me, I'm dead, stop shooting me.
Yeah.
So, because she kept shooting him.
Yeah.
And she eventually ran out of bullets, and that's when and then he was trying to reach for the phone.
So she pulled the phone out.
They didn't show it in the show, but when she pulled the phone... No, what I was about to say.
Oh.
She pulled the phone out, and he had his hands on the nightstand, and she smashed the phone into his hands. Like, no, you're not going to... because his hands were bruised and broken.
Unbelievable.
So it was actually worse than what they showed, but that's the reason why it was...
This is the way I look at all of this. As far as the true story, the show, very dark and well acted. I loved everything about it. But as far as the real story of the true crime is that I just go based on what the kids want. Yeah. And half of them say she does not need to go out. One of them says the threat is gone because she killed them. Yeah. I'm like, that's not a good enough reason, by the way.
Well, they want her to be sorry, and she's not.
She's still angry.
She's just not sorry. No. I don't think she's angry. I think she's... Well, maybe she's angry because she's like...
let it go. She still can't let it go.
She refuses to admit that she was wrong completely.
Yeah.
I think she's like, look, I know I killed them, and I know that's wrong. But what they did was as bad as me killing them.
Right. So and a lot of people think that. All right. Well, we'll have to come up with some new assignments, and we'll do this again.
Yeah, and we'll do something different this time. So it's like that. I mean, I would like to do something a little lighter, maybe. You know.
Well, that's up to you.
Yeah, but I mean, I did want you to see it because I was really
I'm
curious
glad.
to know if I was the only one who was like feeling some kind of way about it after I watched it. I was
I absolutely
I never thought I would sympathize with her at all.
The Betty Broderick story has always been such a struggle for me. It always has, because I really see
it's the ultimate revenge that she got,
and she sleeps good at night, man.
I know, and it's like, so you struggle with like, how do I feel good about the fact that she committed double homicide?
Yeah, that's a stretch.
It's really hard. Yeah, I mean,
all right, moving
maybe
on.
It was just
Let's do some ugly and awkward moments of the week. I have two for you.
Okay.
Here's the first one. This one made me laugh because I think I've done this before, and I think that's why I laughed so hard when I read it. 3 years ago, a cute guy I worked with wanted to give me a fist bump. I thought he was pretending to hold an invisible microphone, so I leaned forward and said, "Hello."
And he's probably like,
I laughed so hard. Well, it's just kind of like, Daryl and I have this joke now because it was on a show once where he'll put his fist bump out, and I'll look at it and I'll grab it and shake it, like handshake, you know? Because if you don't know,
I would do that.
Someone's doing a fist bump, and I think I've done that before. I'm like, what are you doing? I'll like hit it or whatever. I'm like, what is this? Because I'm an idiot.
Yes.
Anyway, that made me laugh.
Well, I always do something awkward, so 100% I would do that.
Absolutely. Okay, and here's the second one. This one made me laugh. Because, we're so big on weddings.
God.
My bridal shoes were slightly too big, and they were tripping me up during the father-daughter dance, so I decided to discreetly kick them off between steps. The first landed neatly under a nearby chair as I intended. The second shoe missed, and instead shot across the room like a missile, nearly braiding two guests. Thankfully, no one was hurt, and everyone laughed, and I apologized, though a couple inches more to either side, and it could have been very serious.
That's right. Those things never go as planned.
Why would you kick off your shit? Well, whatever. I've almost killed people with things.
I mean, right?
Missiles.
I mean, maybe because the uncomfortableness was worse than me trying to like quickly kick them off.
There is nothing worse than a
bad shoe.
Oh my God.
Whether it's too tight or too big or whatever.
There's nothing worse than that pain, man.
Agreed.
Especially when you're out and about and there's no way you can take your shoes off. I have something to admit.
At work.
I have something to admit, and I never thought I'd admit this. This was years ago. Daryl, iHeartRadio they do the iHeart Music Festival in Vegas. And the very first year, he got invited. Not everybody gets to go to it.
No, I know. You guys have been a couple times.
Twice.
Right?
I've only been once.
Okay.
Anyway, so I went the second day because he was actually there for work. And so I show up. This is the time when Daryl decided he was going to be cheap for some reason, and he would not get us a car to take us from one casino to the other casino. He's like, we'll just get on the bus. I'm like, I'm not getting on a fucking bus.
Oh my God. I'm like, wait, what?
There's a bus that transfers
No,
people.
I know, but
from
I don't
one
know
to the
what
other.
in his brain would make him think that this was an acceptable solution.
It was with radio station winners and stuff. And I'm like, I'm
No.
not getting on the goddamn bus. And so I did. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, you motherfucker.
Oh my God.
So we get to the
Reminds me
place.
of something, but go.
We get to the place and I'm wearing sexy outfit, sexy shoes. I look great. It's in the middle of September. It's nice and it's balmy. It's not hot. Anyway, so we get there. Now we have to go back. And I said, if you think for 1 minute I'm getting back on that bus, you are high. I go, you're getting us a car and we're going back to the hotel. He's like, why can't we just go on the bus? I go, you know what? Fuck it. I'm walking. I start walking. I'll just walk down the strip. I'll just go. I don't care. It's
Like,
just,
you don't understand how serious I am about not getting on that bus.
yeah. So I ended up walking through casinos. Stephanie, I took my shoes off in Vegas. Can you believe it? I walked through a casino with no shoes on.
You were desperate.
Do you know? And all I could think of was hypodermic needles, AIDS, STDs, all kinds
like,
of
Mom,
disgusting.
you're gonna get foot AIDS. Put a sock on at
I'm
least.
gonna get foot AIDS. I know it. All the things. All the things.
Was your husband not following after you, trying to get you to stop?
Finally, we get through the hotel, and he goes, fine, I'm getting, so he got us a Lincoln Town car.
You're like, oh, you sure as fuck better.
We got in, I was not speaking.
Oh, no.
We get to the hotel, and I'm like, I don't even want to look at the bottom of my legs, because I know that they are probably as black as the sky. I know it.
I'm going directly to the shower.
So we get there, it was $125. And I said, worth every fucking penny.
Right?
I get out. I march through the Aria Hotel, and I go to my room, and I strip off all of my clothes, and I immediately shower. And I was in there. I mean, Stephanie, when I finally saw the bottom of my feet, I wanted to vomit.
Oh my God, I know.
I'm like, this is what street people look like. This is what this is. It took me a long time to get those things to look pink again.
Did you forgive Daryl that night?
I did, and so finally he's like,
because if you're like me, I hold a grudge.
Well, I was showering, and then finally I came out.
You felt normal,
and I go, okay, I feel better. He goes, okay, so there's an after party, and I said, all right, and he goes, do you want to go to it? I'm like, 100%. And he's like, okay. So I put another sexy outfit on. I put on different shoes.
Redo the hair and makeup.
Redid everything. We walked down. Nick Cannon is DJing.
Yay!
And I'm like, okay, this makes up for it.
Right? Never mind. That is so exciting.
Leonard from The Big Bang Theory was there.
Well, I hope your husband learned a valuable lesson that evening.
And he has never forgotten it.
That reminds me, when we went to Hawaii, we both agreed, thank God, that we were not going to take the bus to the luau.
Okay.
Right? But the only reason why we didn't take the bus to the luau was because my sister Paula had told me about the time when they took the bus to the luau.
Okay.
And on the way home, now I don't know about everybody. I shouldn't say everybody.
Sure.
Most people get pretty intoxicated when you go to the luau.
That's the point.
It's fun. Yeah, the drinks are fruity. Yes, you're not driving. Blah, blah, blah. So, for the most part, she's like, everybody was shit-faced.
Mai Tais on tap.
On the way home. Oh my God, they're the worst.
Oh, they're the rock gut.
They're the rock gut shit. Yeah. So, on the way home, and when you go to Hawaii, everybody's a cousin.
Right.
Hey, cousin.
Yes.
It's a Hawaii thing, and after you've been to Hawaii for a few days, it starts to become normal.
You start saying it.
Yeah, everybody says it.
You acclimate.
You kind of feel like, you're right. You're like, I'm in Hawaii. Hi, cousin.
Yes.
So, of course, you can't do it when you get home. But so she's like, we're on the bus. We're on our way back to the hotel. Everybody's drunk. It's much quieter than it was on the way there.
Of course.
Everyone's sleepy. It's late. All of a sudden, you hear something that sounds like water splashing on the ground.
No.
And the next thing you know, you hear, cousin, I just threw up on the floor.
No.
And to the driver, and everyone's like, ah! She's like, the whole bus just reeked like puke.
Oh my God.
It was pink.
It'd be a throw up fest after
See,
that.
I can't continue to talk about it because I'm going to
you
start
get nauseous.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
But that story has stuck with me like glue. So when you're like, I got on the bus, I'm like, oh my God, you got on the bus? I was like, oh my God.
No, we did not take the bus
I
back.
will never take a bus.
And in his mind, he's like, at one point, because he's an idiot back then, he's
At
like,
that moment,
he's like, if we had been on the bus, we'd be back. Or I'm like, shut up, just shut up. I'm not getting on the bus.
Well, you obviously needed to learn a lesson, and I'm the one to teach it to you.
And here's what sucked about that, too. There was the bus, and there were 4 limos just sitting there with nothing
That
to
you
do.
could have jumped in.
And I said, can we just get in one of these limos? He's like, it's going to be really expensive. And I'm like, I hate you.
I don't care. Oh my God, Joey has done that shit to me before.
Like, when have I not been worth $100?
Right.
Get in this car.
Honestly, and then they always reflect on it later and be like, what the hell was I thinking? Like, I'm so stupid.
He did. He's like, I don't understand what was going on with my brain.
What was going through my brain?
I'm like, were we poor and I didn't know it? He's like, no, we could have done it. Like, okay.
Well, you're never going to suggest something that you know is outrageous. It's not like you're like, can we take a helicopter and land on the... No, I mean, it's a car.
And let me tell you, this is the man will throw money at any problem.
I know, I'm telling you. I think they reach a threshold. It's like being full.
Yeah.
You spend so much money that's like the one more thing you have to spend money on. You're just like, I can't. Like,
here's what's worse.
So much money.
And here's what's worse. He expensed it. He could have expensed it, and he did. And they paid it.
So you're like, so why is this a thing?
I'm like, and yet you wanted me to get on a bus. Why?
I know. It was so unnecessary.
And there's nothing wrong with radio station winners. They're from all over the country. It was
We
lovely.
appreciate
but
you.
I don't want to.
I can't stop
You're an
laughing.
employee. Sorry.
Here they have... Oh, God. We shouldn't have talked about puke and stuff like that.
Oh, no.
Here they have their executive at an event doing his thing to be, for the company. And they're going to have a problem with him taking a car to the hotel. I don't think so.
It's so dumb.
But
anyway.
but no, we've been there, done that. As a matter of fact, I just had to bitch at Jerry, and I know we're going long, but this is funny. he was getting it. Okay, so weed, cannabis, whatever you want to call it, is perfectly legal in the state of California.
Yeah.
Has been for a while. Well, they have this lovely, they deliver now.
Yes.
All of them do. A good majority of them do. So when you are that lazy and you really don't feel like going out, which we've all become during pandemic.
Of course.
You order. So I usually handle all of the tipping. No matter what we do, when I buy on Amazon, when we go out, whatever the case may be, I tip because I don't trust him. Because for some strange reason in his pea brain, tipping is like a waste of money that he has to do.
Oh, no.
So he'll do it, but he does it begrudgingly, and he does the bare minimum that he thinks he can get away with.
You know what?
And it pisses me off.
I'm like, and I told Daryl when we went to Hawaii, in fact, before you continue, when we went to Hawaii, I looked at him and I said, you will overtip. I go, 25% is not acceptable here.
Right, no.
I mean,
Not
do
at
it.
the Four
I go,
Seasons.
these people are struggling, and I know it, and this is not a secret. If we can afford to be pampered for 4 days, you will fucking tip.
Absolutely.
And we did. And when we went to Napa, same thing.
Yeah, we did that when we went to San Francisco a couple months ago.
Yes.
We literally stopped at the bank
To
get
20s.
money.
Yes.
Yeah, because I'm like, we always do that where we show up and it's so what's the word I'm thinking of? Unconsiderate.
Yeah, inconsiderate,
To
yeah.
not think to go to the bank before you show up at a 5-star hotel where you're paying $600 a night.
And you're literally going to tip everybody.
And you're like, oh shit, all I have is a 5. What am I going to do? Oh,
Right.
well, here you go.
Yeah.
Right? So with the weed thing, that is like his thing. That's his thing.
Yeah.
He deals with the people. He makes the order. He pays them when they come to the door. I have nothing to do with it. And so I've often wondered.
How do you tip?
When they first started coming and he first started doing this, I had to tell him, like, you have to tip these people.
Yeah.
He's like, why? It says no tip required on the internet. I'm like, I don't give a fuck what it says. You better tip these fucking people. So
They're
I
driving
would
to your
gather,
house.
I would get the money together and I would include the tip, and then I would just like, there's the stack, give it to them because they only take cash
Of course. Well, yeah, they have to. Yeah.
because it's not federally. Yeah,
Federally,
anyway.
yes.
So I was doing it for the longest time. Well, over time, I'm not always there because I
Right.
work, or I'm not in the room when they come, or I didn't even know he ordered it. Whatever the case may be. So the other day, I said, oh, your people are here. I saw on the camera. I'm like, somebody's here. I'm assuming it's for you. And he's like, oh, yeah. I'm like, are you tipping these people? And he was like, I always do. I'm like, because I see how much you spend on it. He spends between $75 to $100.
Okay.
I'm like, so how much are you tipping them? Because I always give them at least $5. And I'm like, oh. I mean, I looked at him. I had daggers in my eyes. I'm like, $5? I'm like, $5?
Your face.
Doesn't even buy
Your
a
face.
Happy Meal.
Got some of your face.
I was livid.
You were incredulous.
I was so angry. I'm like, how much do you think these people make? They're driving out in these, and when they pull in, there's some shit car.
Of course.
Their windows are down, which means they don't have air conditioner. It's 105 degrees outside. I'm like, and they're driving around
God.
with marijuana that you're spending almost $100 on, and you can't give them more than $5. I'm like, you're a disgrace. So I'm digging through my wallet. He's like, fine, I'll get it. I was like, oh my God, you are. So then we had to have the whole conversation about, have you any idea how hard these people work for minimum wage? And they literally are relying on the tips to like close out the deal for that, to make it worth it for them to even have a job.
I know.
I'm like, there's no reason for them to go to work at minimum wage. None. It doesn't pay the fucking bills.
It doesn't.
So I was just angry and, oh my God. Please, tip your people, whether it be weed or food or deliveries or whatever it is. It has to be 20%. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it does. It does. 100%. And we thank you, drivers, for delivering
We
us
do
our
thank
things.
you. And it should be part of your thought process, people, when you're like, okay, how much can I afford to spend on X, Y, and Z? Well, factor in your fucking tip.
Please.
Buy one less joint
That'd be nice.
so that you
Yeah.
can tip your person. It's so
Oh, my
irritating.
God. All right. Well, I think that's the
It's
show.
been a rough week for Jerry.
Poor Jerry. So happy 4th of July. You'll probably listen to this
Yes.
in the afterglow of the 4th of July. So thank you.
Are we still allowed to say happy 4th of July?
Yeah, isn't it?
I don't know. We can't call
What are
it,
we calling it
we're
now?
chest feeding and
Independence Day.
unliving instead
Oh my
of committing
God,
suicide,
Stephanie, I
and we're
know.
unsheltered, unhoused. I mean,
don't know. I'm so not with it on the uns. So
well, I saw something the other day. They were saying that we need to change the American flag.
that's not happening.
I was like,
That's Macy Gray,
that
and she
hurt
stands
my
alone.
Soul. That hurt my soul. I'm like, my God.
She stands alone, I think. I haven't. That kind of died with her, I think. I don't think
so.
I haven't heard much.
You know what? When there's something that I read that just initially jars me, like I'm like, oh my God, really? Please, no. I can't even read about it because I'm afraid if I read about it, everyone's going to be, no, I'm afraid everybody's going to be like, yeah, this is absolutely ridiculous. We should change. And then I'm going to be so disheartened that I can't.
You're like, why don't I
So
understand?
I just don't read. I'm like, I can't even read it because if people are on board with this,
They're not.
Then
there's been nothing happened.
cry.
It's not going to happen. Anyway, all right. Well, enjoy your week, everyone.
Happy Independence Day!
Actually, hopefully, a lot of you got Monday off, so enjoy your day off if you haven't. And hopefully your children aren't driving you nuts.
God, I'm off on Monday.
Yay!
I completely forgot.
Well, there you go. Congrats. That's why you spend so much money, because you're celebrating the day off. I can sleep in tomorrow. Oh, my God.
Oh my God, right?
All right. Bye.